When the twilight is gone and no songbirds are singing, when the twilight is gone, you come into my heart, and here in my heart you will stay while I pray.
After putting nearly 1,000 hours into this game, I think I can say that Elden Ring has become my favorite game of all time. So, of course I can do nothing other than completely destroy it. This time around, things will be a little different. The only other two games I've done this with before were Bethesda games, Skyrim and Fallout 4. Elden Ring is a FromSoft game, which means I'm gonna need a whole new system for genocide. Before I get into that, I'd like to explain what I'm considering a unique NPC in Elden Ring. First of all, if they have a boss health bar, they're in. Main bosses, mini bosses, doesn't matter, a boss is a boss. That doesn't include boss-like enemies such as the Putrid Avatar and Elfale though. He is not unique, he's just an enemy, even though there are versions of him that are considered bosses. Secondly, if they have a health bar like this that displays their name and health, then they also count. Unless they're NPCs that respawn. For instance, the Flame Guardians and the Guardians Garrison have this health bar and nameplate as if they are unique NPCs, but they respawn. Third, we have invaders and invasions. Mad Tongue Alberich and the Round Table, for example. And lastly, any character that is, well, unique. D, Alexander, Millicent, these are all unique characters. Now before I get any further, I'd quick like to thank today's sponsor. Raid Shadow Legends is a completely free-to-play game. You can play on your mobile device or, like me, on your desktop. I've never played a tactical turn-based MMO like this before, but thankfully Raid makes it easy to get into with their in-depth tutorial and initial walkthrough. Raid has nearly 700 champions, and recently they've added a brand new faction called the Sylvan Watchers. Each champion in this faction has a design that shows that they're in tune with nature in their own unique ways. My personal favorite are Green Warden Ruark and Dwaydan the Runic. Both have fantastic nature-inspired designs. Aside from the new faction, Raid has something special going on right now. They've released a legendary champion based off MMA and pro wrestling legend Ronda Rousey. You can get Ronda for free right now, whether you're new to the game or a longtime player. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th, and she's all yours. To celebrate Ronda's arrival in Raid, use the special promo code RAIDRONDA to get a bunch of helpful stuff as well. And for the new players, click the link in the description or scan my QR code on screen and you'll get unique bonuses worth $30, including the free Epic Champion, Konaru. All this treasure will be waiting for you right here, available for 30 days for new players only. Go download Raid and add me in-game. I'll be waiting for you. Now, like Fallout 4, I'll be doing this by areas. Limgrave, Caelid, Leyndell. I'll be taking these sections all on one at a time. I'm gonna really try and not leave any area without getting all the bosses there, that way there's some challenge aspect to it. I think I've explained all I need to for now, so let's get right into the only phase in this video, the Slaughter phase. In Skyrim, I was Dump. In Fallout, I was Dumpette. This time, I'm Dumpster. Dumpster is a samurai, for now. I really wanted to beat the Grafted Scion first try because I thought it would be sick, but that guy is tough. Well, fine. I'll at least kill the Soldier of Godric first try. Wow, a lot easier the last time, huh? So obviously, the first section I'll be taking out is Limgrave. Before I get to the slaughtering, though, I gotta meet Melina. Wait, stop that. I already did that bit. Then I meet with Ronnie. Dude, where is that coming from? There's actually a lot of bosses and NPCs here, so this section is going to take a bit. Thankfully at least, Limgrave is a daycare level area, so I can level it pretty easy. I do think though that this section is good for players who aren't really used to Souls games to get their feet wet without being totally overwhelmed. That being said, I've played this shit way too much, so it wasn't really much of an issue for me. I met Sorceress Selene on my path of destruction, but didn't kill her yet because I'm gonna need her later. I chopped down all the bosses in Limgrave, and then I hit all the NPCs that I could. It felt really weird killing NPCs because although I've already done a run where I killed every boss, I haven't really killed any NPC other than like invaders. Anyways, the only people that really gave me trouble in Limgrave were Agheel, the Bell-Bearing Hunter, who I'm genuinely convinced is like top 10 hardest boss in the game, and the Ulcerated Tree Spirit, who I really hate. I gotta vent for a second. This is the worst FromSoft boss of all time. He's literally a flaming blob of piss and shit, and the camera in this game when you're fighting huge bosses is miserable. So not only is he rolling around like a turd getting flushed, but you can hardly even tell what he's doing. His moveset is so ridiculously uninspired, and to top it off, he's one of the most recycled bosses in the game. Sorry, had to get that out. After killing all the minor bosses and NPCs in the area, I made my way to the Weeping Peninsula. I got the 3 sacred tears here and wait, holy shit, I forgot Margaret and Godric. Back to Limgrave. Margaret really was not a challenge at all. Still fun though. Once gaining access to the rest of the castle, I killed the 2 NPCs here, Gostock and Nephili. Neither of these NPCs have quest lines that I really need to do, so I got to just kill them now. Finally, the big bad of Limgrave, Godric the Grafted. I think that of the main bosses in the game, Godric is no doubt the easiest. Which makes sense. He's in the early section, but damn dude, I destroyed this poor guy. Oh well, that's Limgrave down. I'm sure the rest of this video will be that easy. I mentioned it before, but the next area is the Weeping Peninsula. I'd like to mention here that I killed Irina, the nomadic merchant at Morn's Rampart, and the Knights Cavalry all before I killed Margit, because, you know, I forgot. But this place is kind of weird, because the bosses vary so heavily in difficulty. Kind of a relief, though. I like a good challenge. I was able to smoke most of the bosses pretty good, but the Deathbird and the Leonine Misbegotten got my blood flowing a bit. Like I did in Limgrave, after killing all the bosses, I killed the NPCs. I killed the Isolated Merchant, but forgot to record it, so here's this empty shack for evidence. But yeah, I mean, this section is really short and not too complicated, so I think it's safe to move on. Move on to Liurnia. Liurnia is really big. There's also a lot of bosses and NPCs here, so bear with me. I started with Thops, the poor guy, and then worked my way north so that I could get the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing and upgrade my weapon a bit. The Crystallian here wasn't much of an issue, and I got my Bell Bearing. I upgraded the Uchi and then started boss rush number 3. I started pretty small, with bosses that don't give me much trouble, but while I was blowing through them, I found something special, a scythe. This gave me the idea to become more of a Grim Reaper type character. Plus, the Uchigatana is pretty much cheating. I mean, that is really good. I ran into the Deathbird, and this guy rocked me. Then, when I was finally on a good line, I got disconnected. Why? Dude. I was not very happy. I came back, though, and was able to beat him. I tore through Liurnia for a while until I reached the village of the Albinorics. There's an NPC here named Old Albus. Rest in peace, Old Albus. He gives you half of the Haligtree medallion. You know what happens after you get half of the Haligtree medallion? Well, if you don't, you will soon, but let me kill a couple more people before I explain. Oh, I really don't want to kill him. I will burn for that someday. Anyway, a couple more people. Okay, so when you get half of the medallion and then travel back to the round table, you get attacked by this guy, Ensha. I know I'm not alone when I say that this was an absolute horror the first time I saw this guy. It was a horror this time even, I always forget about him. But thankfully, he's not all that tough. He also drops some really cool armor. I'm gonna rock that, because with the armor and the scythe, I got a real death look going on. I like it. While I'm here, I'll kill Alberich too. I was starting to run out of people to kill in Liurnia, so I went to the Caria Manor and faced off against Loretta. I like Loretta. I think she's one of the most well-balanced bosses in the game. She's dead now, but you know, cool boss. I had some other people I wanted to kill before getting to the academy, but like Loretta, they died. So I guess it's time. The first person I killed in the academy was the Ravenmount Assassin. I've actually never done this before. Very cool. Highly recommend it. I made my way through the place and reached the Red Wolf. I have very mixed feelings about this guy. What do you guys think? I guess he's cool. I don't know. I killed him. With him dead, I can kill Oh yeah, Moongrim. Yeah, I cheesed him, obviously. Kinda feels like tradition. Now with them out of the way, I can take on Renala. I'm not really scared of Renala. She's honestly kind of a pushover. And that wasn't really any different this time around. Phase 1 isn't really even a phase, more of a cutscene, honestly. And Phase 2 only gets tough when she starts to summon. Even then, though, I managed to kill her. And she managed to kill me. Well, regardless, Renala is dead, and that means there's only a handful of people left in Liurnia. The next boss is way more of a challenge. Unfortunately, though, half of that challenge is getting to him. Magma Worm Makar is a pain in the ass to reach, but once you get there, the fight isn't too bad. You just gotta be careful once you get stanced up like this, but I was careful and I beat him my first try. This actually gives you access to the Altus Plateau, which I will be leaving because it's not time for this place yet. There's some stragglers I had to go back and get, like the Finger Reader Crone, the Knights Cavalry, Big Bogart, this poor little jar guy, and some merchants. But with them dead, I've done all I can for now. I think it's time to start Ronnie's questline. I'm not doing that. It's just happening. I thought it was time for Ronnie's questline, but I forgot that you actually have to kill Radahn before you can reach Nokron and really make any progress, so I guess I'm done here. For now, at least. Caelid is our next spot. I remember when Elden Ring came out and people treated Caelid like it was literally hell, and it kind of is. That all being said, I generally enjoy Caelid, and it's never given me too much trouble. As I did with Limgrave and Liurnia, I started off in Caelid by just picking off bosses. And Grail, who isn't really a boss, but man, imagine if this big fucking move, huh? I sort of boss rushed all of Caelid. What was I talking about? I beat O'Neill, who was a huge pain in the ass by the way, and then I went and did the Celia nonsense, met Gowry, killed the Nox twins, and then... Okay, you know what? I'm letting that one slide. I fixed up Baby Mama, and then continued... I don't like saying Baby Mama. And then continued on my path of destruction. After beating a healthy handful of bosses, I ran into a bit of a wall. You see, there's two kinds of bosses in Caelid. There's pretty tough, and there's butt fuck your mother tough. I killed all the pretty tough bosses, and was stuck protecting my mother from... You guys get the joke, things got really hard. Godskin Apostle beat my ass so hard I tucked and ran. Ran straight into the arms of Knights Cavalry. Another troublemaker. He wasn't nearly as bad though, at least I could damage him. I damaged him to death, in fact. I figured after taking out one nighttime boss, I might as well take out another, and I went to fight the Deathrite Bird. Like the one in Liurnia, he was kind of tossing my salad and not in a hot way. Turns out though, there's a hack to beating them. Holy damage. Holy damage melts this thing. Wish I had known that earlier. I took it up a notch in difficulty and ran up on Grail. He's got just a tiny bit of health. My fight with him felt like centuries, but like halfway through, he just flew off the bridge for some reason. I tried to chase him down, but I was at a pretty big disadvantage over here because not only was he hard to telegraph, the little vulgar militia guys were attacking me too. So fuck it. He doesn't want to fight? Fine by me. I went back to the bridge and pelted him with arrows until he finally died. It took me almost every arrow I had too. I went and killed the other Knights Cavalry in Caelid, and then again got smacked by the wall that I was talking about earlier. I've only got a handful of bosses left in Caelid, so I can't really be all too picky. I tried to take on one of my good friends BBK. Go watch my Eldamon video if you don't know what I'm talking about, but he was really letting me have it. Just no chance at all. So I took a break and went back to the Godskin Apostle. After gaining some levels since our last fight, I was able to handle him much better, and with a very careful fighting style, I got him too. To reach the next boss, I need to go through Sephora. I know I said before that I would try and stick to one area, but you actually need to go through here to reach a certain boss in Caelid. Well, not a boss, but a set of invaders. The Knights of the Great Jar. These guys. I knew these guys would suck because I was playing online, but they had some majorly obnoxious builds. If you don't know, playing online causes these guys to be randomized. I was determined to beat them though and spent forever fighting them. They broke me though. I went to the Altus Plateau and got the second smithing stone bell bearing so that I'd have a better chance. I figured while I was already here I would go check in with Raya and get the grace of the Volcano Manor. Also killed this guy. I love this weapon. I also ran through the path leading to Leyndell to get these golden seeds, but with these buffs, I can bear down and kill the Jar Knights. God, I fucking hate them. GG's though, good fight. I mentioned him a minute ago, but my good friend BBK needed to die. I fought him for about an hour straight and got close so many times, but I couldn't close it out. So I backtracked to Limgrave and got Godric's Great Rune. Just like against the Knights Cavalry in my Elden Ring Ascended video, I needed a little placebo to get me through this fight. It was hard, but I barely managed to squeak it out. Rest in peace, buddy. There's only a couple bosses left in Caelid, and like I said before, they're all mother-riskingly tough. The Bell-Bearing Hunter is certainly no exception. He beat me up like a mean older brother, an older brother who really wanted to fucking kill me. It took me a while, but I got my little brother revenge. Now I only have 3 bosses left. There's a few more NPCs, but only 3 bosses. The only boss I can fight though is Radahn. You have to kill Radahn before you can kill the other 2, kinda. So Radahn, here I come. First try, baby. Redmane now out of the way, I can kill the very random feeling duo of the Misbegotten Warrior and the Crucible Knight. This fight can be tricky if you're not fast enough killing the Misbegotten, but I shredded him pretty good. That leaves his friend the Crucible Knight, and I don't really have a problem with these guys anymore. Remember the quote I said earlier? I believe it was a flaming blob of piss and shit. He's literally a flaming blob of piss and shit. Yeah, there's another one. And it's stronger. I despise you. But that's everyone in Caelid. Well, everyone I can kill for now. I'll be back later, but for now, I can leave it behind. Technically, we've been here already, but this time I actually have things to kill here. After decimating a dozen or so baddies, I decided I would switch to the Winged Scythe. I had to respec into Faith a bit, but this thing is absolutely worth it. I killed some enemies with it, and then I gave Millicent the prosthesis, and then went to fight the Godskin Apostle with her. Millicent, where is your sign? This one's for you. Oh, now you show up. Anyway, back to boss rushing. Alright, well that wasn't bad at all. Well, technically I'm not done. You could say that Leyndell is part of the Altus Plateau. Before I take on the capital though, I'd like to start on the Volcano Manor contracts. Oh, okay, well that was fast. On to Leyndell. I started off by killing Margit Jr. Technically, he's an unnamed enemy with no health bar, but I know Jimmy No Nuts in the comments is gonna have a fucking conniption if I don't kill him, so there you go, Jimmy. You guys get the drill by now. Go to place, kill everyone, go somewhere else. I can't exactly do that this time, but I did sweep all the bosses I could before entering the capital. To actually enter Leyndell, you gotta kill the Draconic Tree Sentinel. He's proved to be trouble for me in the past, but this time I had the power of love. With Millicent, I was able to body this fool and start taking out the bosses inside of the capital. I like Godfrey, but this version of him has always felt a little, unnecessary. I'm not sure what to call it. I wish he wasn't wasted here. Regardless, I killed him, and next up is Morgott. You want to know how that went? Yeah, I diced him up. And that's everybody in the capital. Please don't make me go there. Fine. Though I despise this place, I do have some folks here that I need to kill. First, Esgar, Priest of Blood. That sounds like a name that Modern Family would make up in an episode where Phil gets addicted to D&D with Luke and Alex, and Claire and Haley think it's stupid, but then in the credits scene, Haley and Claire are playing it by themselves in the kitchen at 3 in the morning, and Phil and Luke and Alex walk in and they're like, I killed him though. And Moog Jr. I really wish they didn't feel the need to copy and paste every single fucking boss in this game, but whatever. He wasn't much of a problem. There's one last character that I need to kill down here. The Dung Eater. God, I love that name. They really hit the mark with that one. But for real this time, with Blight Town cleared up, Leyndell and the Altus Plateau are all wrapped up. Right next to the Altus Plateau is Mount Gelmir. There's not really a lot of tough bosses out here, to be honest. Though there is a primeval sorcerer, Azur, who, did he die? He's not moving. I'm gonna assume he's dead. Oh yeah, the other guy, Master Lusat, he also died? Good enough for me, to be honest. While we're getting rid of these guys, I can wrap up Selen's questline. I sided with Jaren because after killing Selen, you can just betray Jaren right away. Very nice. Back to Mount Gelmir, I knocked out some more enemies and then set my sights on Volcano Manor. I started by killing the Abductor Virgins, really not too bad, then made my way through the lava until I reached the Godskin Noble. This guy used to be a major problem for me, but I've learned his timing pretty well and I packed him up like a suitcase. Before I go off and kill Rykard, there's some loose ends I have to tie up. First of all, I want to finish the Volcano Manor contracts. To do that, I have to reach the Mountaintops of the Giants. To do that, I have to kill the Fell Twins. That's actually not true, I made that up, but I figured I'd kill them while I was already here. Another optional boss on the way is BBK, the Second. Thankfully, you can summon. Me and Millicent were shacking Kobe in that bitch and took out BBK the Second. I took the lift of rolled up to the mountaintops and ran into an NPC that I actually completely forgot to put in my spreadsheet somehow, so I'm sure I'm glad he's just fucking standing there. It was almost the Ebony Warrior Part 2. Now that I'm here, I can also finish my current contract and kill Juno Haslo. Dude was actually piecing me up, but thankfully the Winged Scythe is really strong against human NPCs, so I was able to kill him. I finished up patches and all of the Volcano Manor nonsense, and then had to kill someone that made me very sad. I will burn for that too. But now I can grab the Serpent Hunter, upgrade it, and kill Rykard. I had some beef with him after the last video. After that, all that was left was Tanith and her knight. But I'm pretty sure that's it for Mount Gelmir and Volcano Manor. A slightly smaller headache, the Mountaintops of the Giants is next. This area is deceptively small, but you know who they managed to squeeze into this area? The pissin' shit monster. I fought through another little boss rush until I ran into Borealis. I think it's time for me to rant about another boss. I'm also not a huge fan of the Godskin Duo Jr., but their lower health makes it not nearly as bad as it could be. The snail is just, I don't know, the snail's goofy. I tore through the rest of the mountaintops, diced up Commander Niall on my first try, and then moved on to the consecrated snowfields, saving the fire giant for now. I beat myself, and then went into easily the most difficult gauntlet of the game. Boss after boss, and all of them are dangerous, but nonetheless, I prevailed. F*** you, Theodore. You know what? I'm leaving that in. Okay, now I'll fight the fire giant. Typically, after killing the fire giant, you would go to Farum, Azula. Before I do that, though, I'm gonna finish up Ronnie's quest. There's a lot to do for this quest. The first thing I have to do is travel to the city of Noken. Yeah, I gotta go kill more bosses. I've killed the majority of bosses in the overworld, but there's still a lot of underground bosses I have to kill. I almost completely forgot about Vare and the White Masks, but I killed them, and Moog, of course. I killed Dee's twin brother, who I've actually never talked to before, and then of course, to get to the Deeproot Depths, I beat the Valiant Gargoyles. Deeproot Depths is a place I typically forget about in my regular playthroughs. It's just so out of the way, but there's some bosses here for me to kill, and kill I did. I diced up Fia's champions, forgot I had to get the Curse Mark of Death, got a hug, and then faced up against debatably the most obnoxious boss in the game. Rest in peace, Fia. Now that I'm done here, I've got a much more difficult place to go. The Haligtree. I have very mixed feelings about the Haligtree. What I don't have mixed feelings about is Loretta. Like I said earlier, I actually like her. She's very well balanced, I think. And the arena is f***ing beautiful. 10 out of 10 boss for me, honestly, and my favorite horseback boss for sure. You know what boss is not a 10 out of 10? The and shit monster. This thing. Oh my god. To finish Millicent's questline, you have to kill this thing, and I just... I got it. So there's two choices to finish Millicent's questline. You can fight alongside her sisters and kill Millicent, or you can fight alongside Millicent and kill her sisters. I have to fight alongside her, so that way I can make sure her sisters die. So fight alongside her I did, and they were actually pretty tough, but nothing beats the power of love, and we won together, and then she died. This is what you've all been waiting for. Dumpster versus Malenia. The ultimate? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not fighting that bitch right now. I need to do a little cleanup first. I listened to Pydia get murdered, dropped Gowry, pieced up Garank, and felt ready to finally go to Farum Azula. I became a sinner, lost my good friend Melina, pretty sure she dies in the cutscene, so rest in peace. And I ran through Farum Azula up to the Godskin duo. There was no summon sign for Bernal, which makes sense because I killed him, but I didn't really need him. I summoned my Pumpkinhead. No, that's not just a cute nickname, that's his name. Yeah, right there. I beat the duo and then prepared for the fight of my life against the one and only Iron Fist Alexander. You fought valiantly, my friend. Thank you for your insides. I went and took care of the Bernal invasion, which I was really relieved still happened because I thought I really messed that one up, and cleared the path to Malekith. Now, I could fight Malekith here, but I'd actually rather take out a different boss first. This shot gets me every single time. He actually gave me a really hard time. You guys get the drill by now, though. I eventually beat him, which just leaves me with the one and only Malekith, the Black Blade. Malekith is one of the two bosses that will always, on any playthrough, cause me trouble. But with a different scythe, I matched up better in the damage department and was able to take Destined Death. As far as bosses go, there's hardly any left. You get transported to the capital of Ash after beating Malekith, so I might as well kill the bosses that are here. Gideon Ofnir was a joke as per usual, and I actually didn't have a very tough time against Godfrey either, which opens up a path to fight Radagon and the Elden Beast. But before I do that, there's a loose end to tie up. A tall, hot bitch of a loose end. Oh, and these guys. I forgot to kill them earlier. As I fought Malenia for a good 2 to 3 hours, I wrote down some things that popped into my head. Please enjoy my adventure against her, and on screen I'll show some of the terrible things I wrote down.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground, won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Yeah, I had a rough time against Malenia. GG's though, no hard feelings, right, Miyazaki? With that loose end out of the way, I figured why not take out the final boss. Radagon is honestly a pretty easy boss, so I cleared him no sweat, and then of course fought the Elden Beast. The Elden Beast is the worst final boss in all of the Souls games. Just gonna leave that there for you. But that's it. Actually, there's one more boss I saved for last. The boss you meet right at the start of the game, the Grafted Scion. Eat that. Dick. Well, that's it for bosses. There's still some NPCs left over though. There's a handful of NPCs in the round table that you typically can't kill. Typically, you don't have access to magic powers like I do. You also usually can't kill the Great Jar, or Renala, but with my magic powers, cheat engine, you can. There's one NPC I really didn't do anything with, the Three Fingers. They actually don't even spawn without doing Hayeda's whole quest. Oh, by the way, want to mention here, Hayeda and Irina, same person. So I killed Irina, killed Hayeda, each. Anyways, Three Fingers, they don't spawn without doing Hayeda's quest, so they're already dead in my mind. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting away with that. I also can't really kill Torrent because he just comes back and you can't drop or destroy the ring in any way, so he's just kind of stuck with me. But I think that's actually it this time. No more bosses or NPCs. I went back to Fractured America and used the Mending Rune of the Death Prince. I felt like that was the most fitting end. The world is now gray and devoid of life, and the only one left atop the throne of death is me. Thank you for watching, everyone. Subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and I hope everyone has a great year. GG's.